Hey there, it's Corrine. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I thought I would share some more Christmas or holiday gnomes with you. I have a previous video that I did. I will link it at the end of this video. I will also put it down in the description box. So if you'd like to stop and check that out on exactly how I made these gnomes, I would suggest that you do that and then come back to this video. So again, I'll put that down in the description box and a card up at the top for you to get straight to that video if you would like to. So here are just a couple of the gnomes that I made last year. These are super cute with some yarn, and I added a little snowflake and some jingle bells and a little nose. These I put on my Christmas tree. These are cute. Also, the smaller ones or even these larger ones are cute to add to gift bags or gift packages. And these are great to make with children as well. So again, little silver jingle bells, the tiny little ones on him. And today I have a few more ideas to share with you on these gnomes. Here's one with little gray beard. And I've been asked how to hang these from a tree. You can just tie some of the coordinating yarn to the top and you can hang them from either a gift bag or a Christmas tree. These just actually sat on branches on my tree, which is what I plan on doing again with them this year. I just kind of tuck them in the tree. This one has a little snowflake. So today we're going to be making some more. I want to share with you just some of the things I have prepared. So I have already made pom-poms, and like I said, I go into great detail in that first video on how to make the pom-poms and how to make the little hats for the gnomes. So if you're interested in that, please stop by that video, check that out. I go into great detail on that. And I have two different sizes. I've received questions asking where I got the pom-poms and what sizes I've used. So here is, I found the packaging, and here is the 4 sizes that they come in. It's called a knitting loom, but I got it from Amazon, and I paid, if I remember correctly, this was probably a year and a half ago, I paid about 10 bucks. So I'll try to link to the exact one that I got, this exact one, in the description box, but you can just search pom-pom maker or perhaps knitting loom and you'll find it. And it comes with 4 sizes. And the 2 sizes I've used for these gnomes are these 2 sizes. So let me put them back. So I've used the 2nd from the largest and the 3rd from the largest. And these are the different sizes. And I think both of them are cute with gnomes. We're going to be making both of these today. So let me set those aside. Also, I just wanted to show you a few other things that we'll be using today. These are the little noses. Here is one that I have painted and one that is how it comes. To paint these, I used just some cheap acrylic paint, antique white, apple barrel that I think I either got from Walmart or Michael's. I've had this in my stash for so long. And what I like to do is just run a line of ATG tape right on my glass work surface, or you can do a piece of paper, and stick these to them in a row. And I did, I think, 2 coats on each. It holds them in place while you can paint them really quick, and they dry fairly quick. So the size here that I've used on these gnomes is 1/2 inch. And I bought these from Home Depot, not this brand. Again, I found these in my stash. I don't know where I got these. These have been in my stash for a long time, but these are the button plugs. They're 1/2 inch. But, so we're going to use some of those today, but I also thought little pom-poms might be cute for the nose. So I have a bag of pom-poms. again, I got from Amazon. I put them in this large Ziploc bag because I have a whole bunch of pom-poms, but they have several different sizes. I got the tiny ones from Amazon. You can get these, I believe, from Walmart as well. And then I just pulled out a few things that may or may not go on their little beanies. I have some hearts, wooden hearts. I have little bows, and I have some stars. I think I got these from Wild Orchid Crafts a long time ago, these little hearts. The stars I got from Walmart, and the bows I don't really remember, but you could do an online search for acrylic or maybe clay bows. And we're also going to be using either a paper towel holder, the roll, or toilet paper roll. They're both about the same diameter. They're about, it looks like about 1 3/4 inch, and we're going to cut it to about 3/4 of an inch. If you don't have those, you can just use like cereal weight cardboard, chipboard. You want to use a lighter weight chipboard like cereal weight. And these you can cut to about 6.5 by about 5/8 or 3/4, somewhere in there. And just wrap it around, glue it, and cut it. But if you save these, then these are super simple to work with. I've also pulled out some things from my stash. These are from Wild Orchid Crafts. I don't know if I'll be using any of these. This I got from, I think, Walmart. This is some Wild Orchid Crafts stuff. And I just am pulling out a bunch of stuff, and I'll figure out what I want to use and not use. These I got from Amazon. They're little jingle bells. I have a few different sizes of jingle bells in a few different colors. And again, these are from Wild Orchid Crafts. And then these are from, I think, the dollar store. I also am going to be using some of these beads that I got from Walmart. I got them in both silver and white. I'll probably use the white ones. And to show you what I did with those, you can string them and put them on top of the beanie for decoration. So I'll show you how we do that. But again, these are from Walmart Crafts section, a couple bucks. And for the yarn, I used, it doesn't really matter, I used what I found at Walmart, and I also found some at the dollar store. So like this one's made from the yarn from the dollar store, super cute. And then just cheap yarn from Walmart. Really any type of yarn works well. I just picked by the color that I wanted. These are from Walmart, the Dollar Tree rather. And then I have just some Walmart yarn, all different colors. So I've made quite a few that we can decorate, but I do want to show you quickly on how to do this. It will also help if you have some hot glue or some Beacon Fabri-Tac. You also want some sharp scissors when you're making the beard, the pom-pom part, which I go over that in the other video. These are the Tim Holtz shears. They're super sharp on the tip, and that's going to help you, and they're going to help you trim these. I also like these Fiskars rather, from Walmart. And I just wanted to share a few ideas that are a little different than the last video I did. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the brim of the hat. And I won't spend too much time on this in this video, being that I already do that in my last video, but I do want to show you a couple ideas. So here is some, let's do this light blue and white yarn. Also, I want to give you a tip that I do again show in the other video, but it makes it super simple. I pull something from my stash, like this gel press was sitting on my desk, and if you take the yarn, keep the yarn in like a bucket or a bin next to you, it makes it easy to roll out. I wrap this around probably 15-20 times. I just keep wrapping, and then you cut off this end and cut off this end, and it makes for a quick way to cut your yarn for you to use for the hats. Let me also mention that the two sizes that I use, this size and this size for the pom-pom, this is the larger size, and today we're going to be doing the smaller size, so there's the difference. This size here is 6.8 centimeters, which is approximately 2.5 inches in diameter. So that's this large one, 2.5 inches in diameter. The smaller one we're going to be making today is 4.8 centimeters, which is approximately 1.5 inches. So about 2.5, a little larger, and about 1.5. You can choose which one you like better. I like having a combination of both. I think the larger beard looks cute, and I think the tinier beard you'll see looks cute as well. So what I wanted to share with you is last time we did just solid color caps. Again, I didn't even buy anything special for these. I just used what was in my stash. This time I went and purchased some yarn, so I had a little bit of a variation for this year. I want to make them for Christmas gifts, and you see you can make the little hats different sizes. Super cute. So this time around, I wanted to share with you to do different color hats. And the last time I showed you, so you take your yarn, fold it in half. You want to loop it onto your cardboard and take these two tail ends and loop them through and pull it tight. Okay, and you want to go around the entire brim doing that, keeping them tight together, keeping them in a tight loop so it's super full around the brim. Okay, but another thing you can do is alternate them. So you can do one white one blue, white, blue, and end up with a little bit of a variation. And not only can you end up with a little bit of a variation, but you can change the sizes too. So here are two pieces of this light blue yarn. If I do two of them at once, it's going to change the little top piece. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So when you put those through, you want to loop that through just like you did the first one. And now the little knot, that's the word I was looking for, is going to be slightly larger if you do it that way. So it just gives it a little bit different look. You can do one piece of white, one blue, or you can vary them. So like on some of the hats I did a couple blue and then a little bit of white. So again, I'm taking these two pieces, and you always want to do them the same side. I'm going to put those in there, loop them inside into the loop. Okay, pull them through and pull them tight. And then you want to snug them right next to each other. Now I'll go back and do a white one, and I'm only using one white string. Again, you can vary these. You can do 3 if you want, however you want to do it. So I'm pulling them through the exact same side. I'm going to loop them through and pull it tight, and then pull it right up next to the other one. Let's go back and do 2 more blue. And it's endless with the design that you want to do or the colors that you want to use. So here they are. I'm going to loop them through the same way I've been looping them through. Okay. Feed them through that loop. and pull it tight. And now look how cute that design is. So here I did with a different blue, and look how cute that is. Now I have a multicolored hat. Here's an example I did with browns and white, and I did quite a bit of brown. I think I did 3 loops that had 2 pieces of yarn each, and then 2 white. So it gives me a cute, different little hat. Here I did gray and this light blue, which I think turned out super cute. Here I did brown and blue, and again I just altered how many pieces of yarn I used. I altered how many rows I did of the different color. And then here's some solid ones that I did. The light blue, the darker blue. This one I did more white with the brown. I did a red and white. And these I alternated, one red, one white. I have solid red, solid white here. Here I did green and white, super cute. Blue and gray. And then this I want to show you, I did something a little bit different. This is this pink and white, which I think turned out super cute, but I left the knots on the top. So I want to show you the difference in that too. And one more I want to show you before I show you how I did this is done with twine. So I got this twine from Tuesday Morning. I paid $3.50 for this entire roll, and it took very little, and I made the hat with this. See, if you have some extra twine at home, you can do that with that as well, and that gives it such a cute design of a hat. And I did this a little bit different as well, so I'll show you here. So let me move this stuff out of the way. So here is one that I did, a red and white one, and normally what you want to do after you've made all your loops, you've pulled them tight, okay, you want to feed the yarn back through. And again, I describe all of this or explain all of this in my previous video as well, a little bit slower if this is your first time making them and you want maybe a little bit more instruction. So you feed it all through, make sure it's all nice and even. And then you wrap matching yarn around this. Okay, and that's going to give us these hats here. Another way you can do it is just as they are, wrap the yarn around them, and that's going to give you this look. So here we fed it through, here we did not. So I'm going to do an example of each one so you can see that. So here's an example with this one. I'm going to use matching yarn. We are not going to feed it through. We just finished putting on all our loops. They're nice and tight. We're simply going to take our yarn, wrap it around, okay, we're going to pull it tight and knot it. You want to hold that tight, tight, another knot in it, and pull that tight, okay? And now you can adjust it slightly so it's a little even on both sides. I'm also using some cotton balls here that you can push up in there to help give you the shape of your little beanie. And that looks perfect. So now, again, let me make some room here. We're going to trim off the excess. And how much or how little you want to trim is completely up to you. To make these, I cut my yarn down to, you can cut it to anywhere from like 8 to 11 inches. A little bit longer is going to cause a little more waste. However, it's going to be a little bit easier to work with. You can try to cut as little as 6 inches, but it's just going to be a little bit harder to work with. So I would say between 8 and 11 inches is a good length to cut this. But like I said, the more you cut, the more you're going to waste. So now you can leave the little beanie long like this or shorter. I think I'm going to leave it a little bit longer because I cut quite a few of them a little shorter. So I'm just trimming it up. Again, this is where some good sharp scissors come in hand. Just kind of make it even. Throw away the excess. And I have my hot glue over here. I'm going to add some hot glue to keep those cotton balls together. I like to just kind of add a little in here. And we will hot glue them to the pom-pom as well when we're ready to decorate them. So again, this is the brim that we just pulled after we're done putting it all together on the cardboard, if I can find it here. Okay, here it is. So this is after we've put all of them on and we've pulled them tight. We're simply just pulling them up and tying them around here. That's what we did here. The other way of showing you is, let me put it back one more time to show you. You want to feed it back through the other side and then tie your yarn on it as we just did on the other one. Make sure they're all pulled straight, make sure they're even as you can get them, pulled tight. Sometimes it can help too to put a cotton ball in there to help shape it already for you. You don't want to push it all the way through, but just slightly will help hold its shape while you get a piece of yarn tied on it. So again, I just use a piece of the matching yarn, pull it around, and tie it tight. And you want to go ahead and put a knot in it so it holds it. So I pull it once, pull it super tight, holding it tight. I'm going to go ahead and put another knot in it. And pull that tight. Okay. And now you can, like I said, shape this by slightly moving it to make sure it's pretty even. Sometimes I like to put another, matter of fact, I'll just put some hot glue and put another cotton ball in there right now. You can, if you don't like working with hot glue or you don't have a hot glue gun, you can use some sort of fabric glue. This Beacon Fabric Tack you can get from Amazon, Walmart, lots of places. Okay, so now there's the difference between the little brims. So you can change them up however you like. My personal favorite is where it has this edge here, but these are cute too. So the other thing I want to show you quickly is these. What I found was the easiest. These are those beads that I told you I purchased from Walmart. They have different colors. I found them near the jewelry section. I really like the white. They have different sizes as well. And here is the packaging for them. I found that using thread is easiest. So I threaded just some sewing thread. Let me put a little knot in here. And you can sew these on either the top of the hat like I did up here, or you can sew them down around the brim of the hat. I think, let's see. Let's do this red one. And I think I'm going to use the medium size. Here's the larger size of the white. I think I'm going to use, maybe I'll use the tiny one. So what I found is easiest is just put them in my palm and feed them through. I don't know if the knot I have on there is going to be small enough or large enough. Let's see if it slides right off. Okay, it's going to hold it. So be careful not to poke yourself, but just kind of feed them through. Just using a regular sewing needle. So I'm going to continue threading these. I'm trying to decide if I want this. I'm going to thread on enough that's going to go around this hat. I'm trying to decide if I want these to go in the middle or on the bottom or up at the top. I think I'm going to do the middle of the brim of the hat. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back to show you. Okay, so I have put as much on here as I'm probably going to get. And I may not have had I was just using whatever thread I already had on there. So it should have been longer than this. So I'm going to probably have to do it again. But I just kind of wanted to show you what I'm going to do. So I just threaded on there. And then I think I've decided I'm going to do this in the middle of the brim. Or maybe I'll do it at the top. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it right at the top of the brim. So I'm basically just going to sew it in there, stitch it in there, bring it around. So actually I did have enough, being that I changed my mind, and I'm going to do up on the top of the brim. The reason I'm using the sewing needle is just to make it easy to adhere on in one piece. So being that I'm happy with that, I'm just going to pull this a little bit. And then I'm just going to clip off this end. I know this may be a little hard to see. I'm just clipping off the end of the needle. Put my needle in here. And I'm just going to tie these. I'm going to go back and add a little bit of Fabri-Tac. Sorry, I'm going to pull this closer to me so I can see what I'm doing here, but I'll show you in a second. Okay, so I put 2 knots in there, and that's just going to help me while I'm getting the Fabri-Tac. So I'm just going to pull out my Fabri-Tac and lift this up, put a little bit of a bead under there, and just set these down, gather them close. I'll go back and cut these extra strings off here in a minute, but I'm just going to kind of tuck that in there. I don't need to go around the entire thing, but I'm going to do most of it so it doesn't move on me and it stays in place. Just again, a little bead of Fabri-Tac, press it in there. Okay, and now I can cut off those little ends of thread. Okay, and look at that, super cute. Just another way to decorate. I'll probably add some jingle bells to this one as well, but I just wanted to give you guys that idea about the beads. So now to put these little gnomes together, we're simply going to hot glue them onto it. I'm using the smaller pom-pom. This is the approximately 1.5. It's actually a little bit bigger than 1.5, but that's just to give you an idea. I'm going to put hot glue right onto my cotton ball, which I have hot glued inside the hat. I'm going to put a good amount and just simply put it right onto my pom-pom, push it down on there, and hold it in place for a few. Now I've already painted quite a few noses. The nose you kind of want to just tuck right under the hat. Again, we're going to do that with some hot glue once I feel this is dry enough. So I'm going to add some, I think it's going to be easier to add hot glue right to the pom-pom itself. So I'm going to choose where I want it. Okay, I think that's good right there. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue and just tuck that nose right up in there. I kind of want it tucked into the hat a little bit. Okay, we'll set that aside to dry. Let's go ahead and do another one. Here's another pom-pom with a little bit different brand and thickness of yarn. All of them I think look cute. So we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to add my hot glue. And just press and hold my pom-pom in there. Make a little spot for my nose. We'll do right here. I'll add a little bit of hot glue and tuck that in. How cute is that? Leave that to dry. I'm going to do a gray one here. For the gray, let's use, let's use, I'm going to use the blue hat with the gray beard and a white pom-pom on this one. Looks like this needs a little trimmed, so I'm going to trim that while that's drying. I'm going to go ahead and add my little nose right here using just a little pom-pom. There's even smaller pom-poms than this, but I liked this size. It's probably about a 1/4 inch, maybe about a 1/2 inch. It's about the same size as the wood plug, I guess. Super cute. To me, I really like the wood note plugs the best for the nose, but I thought this was a good choice if maybe kids would prefer that. Okay, so I'll let that dry, and I'm going to just continue to put these together. Okay, so here are all the little gnomes that I made. I did make some from last year. This is one of them from last year. It has a little snowflake on it. And just to remind you, you can make them in different sizes. So this one here is made with the larger. Just experiment, try and see which one you like the best. The other ones are made with the smaller. I think the smaller are cute on packages. The larger are cute to kind of tuck in and out of your Christmas tree. You can hang them. This is the only one that I hung because I found that they looked super cute just sitting on branches. Here's another one from last year with the lighter yarn. I have another little snowflake and jingle bells. This one I did this year. Tucked a little snowflake up here, added 3 of the smaller white jingle bells. This is a little bit different yarn, so you can use whatever you have. And then I think these 2 are from last year. Some silver jingle bells, gray beards. This one's from this year. I did 2 tiny little jingle bells, and I got my jingle bells. I got some of them quite a while ago from Wild Orchid Crafts, and then I ordered a bunch from Amazon. This one is where I did the red and the white hat. Some jingle bells. So this is one of the ones that I did not flip the yarn through, so it shows the little knots on the top here. His little nose. And then here's using that same yarn I showed you as this large one. And these I got just in one of, no, these are actually from Wild Orchid Crafts. Same with these, Wild Orchid Crafts. But you can look like in your dollar section at Walmart, they have those berries, or at Michael's, they have tons of them. I love the white on white with his little nose. Here we have one where I added some poinsettia flowers. I did 2 of them, and then just this little berry branch that I got from Michael's. Added some silver leaves. These are from Michael's as well. I just cut them. And then this one has the pom-pom nose, which I thought turned out cute too. I like the button better. Here's where I did a pink and white, where I did 2 pieces of yarn each time. Added one of these silver little bows and some jingle bells. I don't remember where I got these from. I've had them in my stash a very long time. Here's another one with some leaves, some jingle bells tucked up in there. And then I did the brown and then a few, and then white here and there. This yellow one's super cute. This is yarn I used that I got from the Dollar Tree. Added one of those little bows. Here's where I did the blue and the white. Added a white little bow at the top. And to hang them off packages, I would either use crochet twine or just another piece of the yarn. This is the one that's twine. I got this from Tuesday Morning. Add a little bow. 3 little jingle bells. And what I like to do is tie the jingle bells with crochet or sewing thread. Tie them first, that way they're easier to work with, and then you can glue them on or do whatever you're going to do. But I tied them together first. You can't see that because it's tucked up in there, but it makes it easier to work with. I did the green and white hat with the little poinsettia, and then these little leaves that were from the dollar bin at Michael's. Here's one where I strung those little beads that I got from Walmart around his hat. Added one of those little silver bows. This one's so cute to me. A red and white one, some jingle bells, and another little metal snowflake. See if you can see that. I was able to just wrap that or thread that with some sewing thread. Another one with 2 layers of poinsettias, some of those silver flowers, and a little jingle bell. And I love the gray and blue. Or is this one brown? Yeah, this one's brown and blue. Little blue one where I did the little beading around his hat, added a silver bow. Again, this is yarn from the Dollar Tree as well. This one with the light blue, I did 2 little snowflakes. Those snowflakes I got from Wild Orchid Crafts a long time ago, but if you can Google scrapbooking snowflakes. Same with these. And then this is the gray and blue. So I hope you've enjoyed. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. Thanks so much for watching, and remember to check the description box. I'll try and link some of the information below, and I will link to that first video where I go into great detail on how to make the pom-pom along with the hats. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.